Do you know, it's long fascinated me that even if you're an atheist or a skeptic or as far from Christianity as you could possibly be, you can't escape the impact and the significance of who Jesus Christ is. As I record this video, we are rapidly approaching Christmas. I'm reminded of that every morning because about 5:30 in the morning, my little 4-year-old runs into our bedroom, leaps onto our bed and demands for the next door on her advent calendar to be opened. Chocolate is an amazing thing. Why is it that we're having, the presents and the parties and the food and all those other things? Yeah, we do it because it's fun, but why do we have the festival in the first place? What is it that we're celebrating underneath all of it? In fact, Christmas, of course, is a major date in the year. And talking about dates reminds us of the calendar. And the calendar reminds us of Jesus. We divide history into AD and BC, all centered around the life of Jesus. Even if you try and play that down, as some of my humanist friends do, by appealing to renaming BC and AD CE and BCE, the dividing line is still the birth of Jesus. Look at the founders of major religions. Have you noticed that you could take the founder of every major world religion out of history, and that religion could still stand? If Buddha had never been born, somebody else could have brought the system of teaching known as Buddhism. It could look basically the same. Maybe I could have started it, and it would be called Andyism, and there'd be fat little green statues of me on mantelpieces all across Asia. But that's another story. If Muhammad had never been born, Islam could still have started. Allah could presumably have sent the Quran with somebody else. In fact, Islamic theology is very clear on this point, and on it goes, until you come to one exception, and that's Jesus Christ. You see, Christianity is not a system of thought taught by Jesus or a list of rules and regulations invented by Jesus. Christianity is Jesus, his personality, his identity, his very own self. In fact, as one comedian once remarked, if you take Christ out of Christian, all you're left with is 3 letters, I, A, and N, and Ian cannot help you. Interestingly, if you take Christ out of Christmas, all you're left with is a mass that sounds largely like a mess of presents and food and parties and festivals and all kinds of fun things, but with very little meaning behind it. And I wonder how many of you have had that experience that many of us have had, of putting huge amounts of effort and resource and energy into Christmas, only to wake up on Boxing Day or December the 27th and ask yourself the question, is that just it for another year? Where did it all go? It's gone in a blink. And you notice too, the number of suicides in the Christmas season spikes every year. Because I think while Christmas is an exciting time for many, there's also an emptiness to it if you don't discover what the real heart of Christmas should be. Christmas is designed to point beyond itself. There is a message, there's a story, there's a person who is supposed to be there at the front and center of Christmas. And if you take that person out, if you bury Jesus under a mess of presents and parties and EastEnders specials on the television and no matter what else, then you are going to have that experience of waking up the next day and everything being hollow and empty. And what if you can discover that meaning that's supposed to be there in the heart of Christmas? Because the incredible news is, just as the birth of Jesus 2,000 years ago divided history, so if you encounter the real meaning of Christmas, if you meet the real Jesus at the heart of Christmas, your life too can be divided in time. The time when you didn't know him and the time when you did. Christmas can last your entire life, and it can transform you entirely. The whole of history hinges on who Jesus is. Every human life hinges on their answer to the question, who is Jesus and who is he going to be in your life? Why not this Christmas encounter something that can transcend food and presents and parties and fun and change your life forever? Why don't you make Christ not just the center of your Christmas, but the center of your very life?